Welcome, everybody. We are here for our second game of the night with the Meta High School Esports rolling right in, and we're going to be with Mount Gravatt versus Forest Lake State High. And it is going to be a fun game tonight. I'm finally back here again with Nightstar here for his second game tonight. How you going, Nightstar?
I'm doing good. And I mean, this is going to be a 2-0 matchup, so this should be, stakes are starting to increase here, and it should be a pretty exciting matchup.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where both these teams go because I was taking a look at how they both went so far in the season. And so far in round one and round two, they have both won both their games, which means these teams are confident,
hmm
they're prepared, they're ready to show their skills. And the fact they both won both their games means that tonight's match is going to be a really exciting one to watch.
Yeah, and we are already into that pick ban, so let's go ahead and see how things are actually going to turn out here. And I mean, when we look at some of these, op.ggs and trying to get a grasp of what these players do like to play, I mean, it's not like a whole lot. And it's understandable. Sometimes you just don't play a whole lot of ranked games, but certainly some things to watch out for. The Lulu, the Caitlyn over on the side of, let's see here. I sometimes forget where these teams line up, but I believe it's for blue side. Yes, for blue side, those are going to be definitely picks to watch out for. As our first bands, Veigar, Lee Sin. Veigar pretty strong as a control mage. Lee Sin, of course, very dominating in the jungle. So the initial onset makes sense.
Yeah, again, some of these bans I've never seen I've very rarely seen a Vlad ban going into some of these games. And something I've mentioned, I think, last week when I was casting, is I think one of the great
Mhm.
things about some of these schools, especially because in the same region. I remember back when I was in high school, I would know people from all the other high schools, and we'd play league with each other and mess around. So I wouldn't be surprised that some of these guys who are going to be sitting down, getting ready to play, be like, "Wait, I know the guy on the other team." I played league with him. I want to ban out his champs, and he's not going to be able to play against me. And I think that's really a fun thing to be able to do as well.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when, it's very regional at the start. So a lot of these players, maybe they even know each other in person. So that also adds that extra little bit of excitement to these games. And it will be the first pick Caitlyn right there. So this is a champ that, very familiar with, over 100 games on. So could be very dangerous going into the lane phase of this game.
hmm I mean, let's get to know each other while we're here as well. That way, our audience as well will be able to understand how where our expertise lies, especially as casters. Where do you like to? Oh, and we have a fiddle locked in as well. Okay, this is a bit of a dangerous one. Yeah, where do you think? What role do you play? What are you most confident in when you discuss with your understanding and
Oh,
capabilities?
yeah, I do love myself a lot of bot lane, of course. My initial favorite champion, Ezreal, played him a lot. I think Ezreal is just a unicorn among AD carries because he literally builds everything, anything and everything. From season 3 or season 4 with the Elder Lizard build that kind of dates where my playing career started. But yeah, love the champ. Really fun, really cool to watch. And the rest of these pick bands, of course, also very interesting because we got the Fiddlesticks, as you mentioned earlier, but then the answer back is this Lux, which is really known to pair up with the Caitlyn to create that kill lane. And then we even add on the Poppy, who a lot of people have forgot, but this is probably one of the biggest buff champions coming into 12-9.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Poppy and I've discussed with how she plays and how she fits into that, like, that ganking jungle. It's really, you have to be aware of. Like, we look at Jin Zhao, we look at some of those champions that really like to push their early level lead and just absolutely decimate. How do you think Poppy works as a jungler? Like, what is she looking for compared to, does she play the same as Jin Zhao, where that level 2 and that level 3 is just so deadly, where you're rampaging around in your opponent's jungle? Or is she someone who likes to sit back more or be more of a support kind of ganker when they're looking to gank?
Yeah, I feel like when you take a Poppy jungle, you really want to be super aggressive here, especially when you look at the side of red. They don't exactly have a ton of champions that are going to be utilizing those dashes, right? For the Fiddlesticks, it is a blink. You can block out the rocket belt active, but the only effect we have so far is trying to block out those Ari dashes. So your utility later on in this game could be very limited, at least so far. And Poppy typically also wants to play into more AD heavy compositions. And on the flip side, what do we see here? It's a very AP heavy comp. So right now, the Poppy, while can provide a lot of late game pressure, that's not going to be the case in this particular game unless if you hit massive Poppy ultimates.
Yeah, that's really, I agree. I think that's how Poppy likes to move around and can be very dangerous as well. Very good at putting a team ahead, especially when she wants to. And then on the flip side, we have Fiddlesticks, who is completely different. You know, he
Very
focuses on
opposite.
getting his wards down. Yeah, controlling vision is something Fiddlesticks is fantastic at as he roams around the map. And then I think the big standout play that everyone loves to see and works so well is Fiddlesticks ultimate. You know, you're sitting around, and I think anybody, even me, when I'm watching competitive league, and I just see that Fiddle in the corner of the map. You can see him channeling up his ultimate to hop over the wall. Is that what Fiddle looks for most in fights? When does he plan to move in? When does he plan to strike? What is Fiddle good for? And in opposite to Poppy, what should we be looking to see Cyclone do on the Fiddle?
Yeah, for sure. This Fiddlesticks, if this Poppy doesn't or isn't able to get invades into the jungle, then that will allow the Fiddlesticks to kind of just run away with this matchup. But as we see here, we see the Talon and the Darius. So this could actually be a Talon flex into the jungle as well. And some sort of weird, Lux into the mid lane, Poppy into the support role, Darius most likely going into the top lane, but can have his matchups into the mid lane. Ari, probably not one of those though. So there's actually a couple moving pieces on blue side here, so we'll have to see where the eventual roles do pan out. But when it comes to the OP.GGs, most likely it's the Poppy in the jungle. And against the Fiddlesticks of course farms much faster and has a lot more team fight impact, especially given how these comps are shaping out. But if Poppy is able to get ahead, the issues with Fiddlesticks is that if they're getting aggressive wards onto your half of the map, all of a sudden this Fiddlesticks finds it a lot more difficult to get value out of his ult.
And something I think I'm really excited to see as someone who plays top and support. Man, I love Alistar. I love Alistar so much. I'm really excited to see him be played in this game, because I haven't seen Alistar that much in tournament play. And I think a lot of people, when they see Alistar, they think, dash and slam. That's all he is. But this sounds so easy and straightforward to think, but he's not just a dash and slam. He's also a slam and a dash. He has so much utility to be able to roam around, to knock people back. Most people think his dash is just a gap closing. He can knock people back. His slam slows people down. He has brilliant stun as well with his E. He has so much damage absorption. He's a really fun champion to watch roam around the map. And I think he's going to be a really interesting matchup for what seems going to be, what it seems like it's going to be, is our Lux support.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is a bit of a rough level 1 matchup for the Alistar. Of course, Alistar really needs that level 2 to start interacting in the lane, and the issues against a Caitlyn Lux is that they have so much range, they can walk up very far ahead of the wave and really deny a lot of EXP. We'll see how they actually play out the lane if they're able to successfully deny EXP away from the Alistar, but the lane setups right now for blue is that this is a very lane dominant draft here. You have a Darius who's just going to hard slam this Mordekaiser in the lane phase. You have Caitlyn Lux also geared to hard slam the lane phase. And then you have Talon who, lane phase wise against an Ari can struggle, but certainly has his all-in potential. But if you're ganking these side lanes that are already going to get ahead by themselves, there's a high amount of snowball potential coming in from blue. But of course, we have to also respect the team fight prowess that is available on red because of the fiddlesticks and the Jin. And of course, Mordekaiser can be a menace if he's allowed to get to play the game.
Yeah, and I think that's a wonderful little segue for us to roll into our break here, as we're about to wait for the spectator delay to complete and roll right into our second game of the night. So get ready, everyone. Get comfy, grab your blankets as we roll into our break. We'll see you guys in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. We are finally into our game with Mount Gravatt State High School going up against Forest Lake State High School for our second game of the night. I'll reiterate once again, both these teams have won both their games so far in the last 2 weeks, and as you come into our third, they are looking to finally break the streak for one of the teams. And I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. We had a nice little discussion about the draft. I love seeing Alistair walk in here, be able to show his stuff, because Alistair's such a fun support to watch. Cheeky little ward drop here. Didn't get caught out. Mordecai's going to walk into the bush as well. Asian Doctor trying to get the cheese right off the bat. And we're going to see a bit of drama this early in the game. Looking to get the Mord passive activated. But also, the Darius Bleed Sacks have dropped mini. He gets that damage buff with the Conqueror as well. Waiting for his Q cooldown to come off as well. If he can just get the heal, he flashes the Q! Oh my god! A massive little early pickup here for Darius. That top lane is going to be much more difficult for Mordekaiser to be able to bring that back. Damn.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to fight back. Of course, start of the game, we're going to have to refresh those item shops. But, I mean, even then, even if that Mordekaiser did win that, right, there's also having to deal with the Talon come up there and finish off that kill. So Talon was in the area to back up his top laner, and it's all around a great start for Mount Gravatt. Just a minute into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt, right? Another kill on the board. And
yeah, absolutely. And I know that, you know, we were talking in Champs Select. You asked me about my my favorite lane. Well, where do you find yourself in when you queue up for League of Legends?
Look, I'm going to be honest, I enjoy playing League of Legends casually more than I do competitively, even though I do enjoy the game. But when I hop in, if I get to choose, you know, I'm not playing with friends who have taken up my roles. By the way, we're seeing the pressure here top lane. Asian Doctor with a cheeky little bleed does hit the... forcing a clash right out of Boshi already. Look at that pressure come from Darius. Now he's going to get a bunch more CS, and he's going to be able to give himself a nice little lead here. This is really looking good for the top laner of Mount Gravatt. And on that, the top I'm a top laner too. So being able to see Darius, Dunk Master Darius, out of anything, I love that skin so much, is something really fun to watch. Yeah, top lane is definitely my jig.
Yeah, you know, top lane certainly has its moments. Especially, I would say it's more meta dependent. You know, when it's not the old Mundo Maokai meta. Oh, Maokai meta, yes. Hopefully, one day we'll see Maokai be played in that top lane, but hopefully it won't be, you know, 2020 Maokai all over every single game, because that wasn't fun. But seeing Maokai get play is always a little heartwarming.
Yeah, and I think top lane really has... It can be difficult for lower elo players to try and take advantage of leads in top lane because it's so isolated. If this Darius does really well, a lot of the time you would see people who are still learning the game and improving they would probably decide to try to continue their split push or just try to bully their laner even further, rather than in teams which have a better understanding of the game where they try to spread out their lead and give it to their teammates. And I think that's such an interesting thing about top lane, is that it is so isolated, which can be lonely. You know, I'm playing up there, I'm like, man, where is everyone else? Aww. And I think ADC is completely different. You know, you have your support here to back you up. If you guys get ahead, your support can roam. It feels much more easy to do. Oh! And a flashy command Ari, and the charm, nor the ball is going to hit, and Talon is going to be able to recall while wasting his mid laner's flash.
Yeah, really solid play coming in from Bad Bunny in that mid lane, being able to burn that flash. Of course, has to give up their own flash in that instance, but you know, Ari very close to level 6. And once you get that level 6, you have, of course, the additional mobility. Whereas on the flip side, yes, level 6 for Talon does give you a little bit of mobility, having that stealth, but for the most part, you want to use it to burst someone out rather than use it in a defensive manner. Oh man,
big from Lux.
That's a lot of poke.
Yeah, wow. This is exactly what you're talking about with that range. It really is incredible. Despite Jin trying his best to drop down some traps, that Alistair is having a really hard time sticking in lane.
Yeah, and the issue with this dual lane in this bottom lane is the fact that they don't have a lot of damage to combat the Caitlyn Lux. So usually, if you're trying to match double range bot lane, you want to have enough damage to be able to burst someone out. So if you do get a catch with the Alistar, you have kill threat onto them. But that's not the case here. Even if they land the CC, they need the jungler influence to actually be able to secure a kill. So that's the real problem facing this dual lane of Forest Lake.
Speaking of jungler influence, we have Poppy jumping straight on, dropping the Electrocute on top of CK Clone. No one coming to help out their jungler.
Damage.
Looks like Chui is going to get a nice, easy pick on CK Clone, who is going to flash over the wall. And it looks like the mid laner here has finally come to back up their jungler. Very bad bunny, getting the charm and a massive burst on top of Chui. And there's going to be a nice little pick for the Ahri in that mid lane.
No flash.
Eclipse Mid's not going to be able to challenge the mid laner as well. That's right, no flash. Eclipse Mid's going to keep looking to get these hops over the wall, and Jin and Alice have finally come to back up Very Bad Bunny. That charm does drop down with Clone here coming to back up their teammate as well, and it looks like Eclipse is completely isolated. That's what it feels like to be a top laner right there. And Very Bad Bunny picking up a second kill from an unfortunate mistake here coming from Chui, sacrificing their own life and the life of their mid laner.
Yeah, it looked like, you know, they wanted to get that 1-for-1. Unfortunately, the flash just wasn't fast enough to be able to secure that kill. Not getting enough distance, close enough, and that's a big win for the side of Forest Lake. You have 2 kills onto your Ahri. This Ahri in position to really do a lot of damage in this mid game, and now you also give a little bit of breathing space for your Fiddlesticks, right? You've killed the Poppy, and while the Fiddlesticks is still down some EXP, of course the scaling is something to factor for the Fiddlesticks, who should outscale this Poppy pick.
Yeah, and now we're starting to see the kills sort of distribute on a different side of the board. Here for Mount Gravatt, we have the top laner Darius getting ahead. Oh, here we go. We see Poppy coming up in that back river through Tribush, looking at Mordekaiser, and there it is, that dash right on top. Boshi is going to get caught by Asian Doctor with that nice little pull. That Shadowrun is on top of Chui, and Chui is going to have to try and last as long as possible. If Chui goes down here, Boshi is going to get that buff when killing someone in the Shadowrun, but it looks like Asian Doctor is not going to be afraid, dropping down that bleed stacks, and it is going to be a nice little 1-for-1 here as the bleed goes down, running towards the tower, and Boshi is going to get taken down by Asian Doctor for a cheeky little 1-for-1.
It is going to be, you know, a bit of a classic Mordekaiser moment there, though, right? Because you get ganked, but you're still able to go 1-for-1, and that's why the Mordekaiser pick is good right now, is the fact that he's gotten a lot of help, and now he can take those 1v1s in those situations. But now Asian Doctor making a roam over.
Or cheeky little hook, but it looks like it isn't going to amount to much. Very Bad Bunny, despite getting cornered, it just walks back under their tower and feeling very comfortable. It's a very interesting thing about Mordekaiser, where he has the ability to take someone to the Shadowrun, where despite him being if he ends up being completely useless and not able to help his team at all. Ooh! And the charm, no! And the charm does land on top of Eclipse Mint, meaning that he was going to head towards it. Ahri gets caught in the ball facing back, but it looks like the bleed from Eclipse Mint still lands on top of that Ahri, and they both get a nice little trade right on top of each other in the blink of an eye. That mid lane is chaotic.
Yeah, and what a great kill coming in from Eclipse there. And it really capitalizes on the buy timing for Bad Bunny, because coming into that particular fight, yes, 3 kills up. Yes, 30 CS up. But when you look at the itemization at that particular moment, only had an amp tome for damage. So it was a very even when it came to itemization. So that was probably the one moment Eclipse could have found that 1v1 kill, and he was able to capitalize on it.
Asian Doctor pretty pushed up as well. CK Clone just sitting there waiting for an opportunity, barely taking shots. Yeah, Asian Doctor is just looking like such a threat here. It's going to be very hard to gank him. And the question is whether our Clone is going to look for one. And here we are. Clone has looked for the gank on the top side as well. If we're going to see the camera move over towards that, there it is. Getting the plea, getting the fear. That pull is going to pull Asian Doctor closer, and he's going to drop right into the Shadow Realm. Now it's going to be a 1v1 between Clone and Chui, while Asian Doctor tries to solo Boshi in the Shadow Realm. Asian Doctor has taken a bit too much damage here from Clone as well, despite the bleed, and the tower shot's going to come down, meaning that Asian Doctor is going to get a nice little cleanup on his top laner as well. She successfully defending off Clone, while We see Eclipse Mint
And
here looking
Eclipse
up
is here.
for that trade on top of the jungler. Hops over the wall. He's looking for that bleed, takes it, one more, gets smited on top of him, and drops the ultimate straight on top of Secret Clone for a wonderful little 0 for 2 here, straight in the side of Mount Gravatt, showing how powerful a Fed Darius can be.
Yeah, able to buy so much time, given the, how far ahead he was, having those additional stats from leveling, able to buy enough time to then have Eclipse make his way all the way up from mid lane, and now collapse onto the mid lane.
Here we go, Chui looking for that dash against the wall. Does not get the stun they're looking for. The other 2 does drop, but Very Bad Bunny is going to be able to walk once again under the tower. A very common factor we're seeing here. Very Bad Bunny getting ganked over and over again, but so close to the tower, they can just walk right underneath it without any worries.
Yeah, and unfortunately though, Forest Lake, their only lane that is holding up is this mid lane. Yes, CS-wise, down in that bot side, they are doing all right on the Jhin, but okay,
oh, Asian
not
not looking good. He's right here on, on Boshi. He tries to drop the ultimate, but it just builds up the stack and he doesn't finish it in time. Getting cleaned up and giving Very Bad Bunny another kill, just as you were saying. A very strong looking lane.
Yeah, Very Bad Bunny now 4-1. Doesn't look like Force Lake will start out the Dragon, though, and Eclipse kind of tempting fate here, but of course he is down. Will be able to jump over the wall. Boshi will be able to get himself a plate here, and all things considered, like, even though some of these lanes are a little bit lopsided for the side of Mount Gravatt, they are only dead even in gold. So Forest Lake have done the things that they've needed to get to this team fight phase that should start up in, 4 to 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's been very hectic, and finally we only have the first dragon slain currently, which is going to be that Cloud Drake. Cheeky little gank here as well. We have people walked up just too far from Mount Gravatt, and it's going to force a flash out of Catnip very, very early after seeing Fiddlesticks channeling that ultimate, and Clone is going to absolutely single out Captain Cade, and is going to hand the kill right over to his Jhin, giving a nice little kill finally in lane in this stalemate that we've been looking at for so long, while also getting the dragon under their belt.
Yeah, Lux end up just a little bit too far from home. And fights all around the board.
Yeah, fights all around the board, but it looks like neither of them are going to result in that much. Forcing Zemayu back, and it's going to be a 1v1 between Catnip. That flash charge from Zemayu as well. Surprising Catnip, not expecting it. Zemayu has walked a bit too far under tower as well. Going to channel the ultimate as well. Looking for that kill on the support, and the Shadow Realm comes out from Mordekaiser. Trying to break up the fight between Asian Doctor. He knows he's in trouble, and those bleed stacks finally drop. And while watching the fight up top, we also have another trade here. Jhin is going to clean for Caitlyn, who has been so feisty recently. A hop over the wall here from Eclipse Mids, looking at Very Bad Bunny. And Very Bad Bunny gonna once again make it under the tower, while we've had trades completely opposing with Darius once again. Oh! And Poppy dashing right over the wall with a cheeky little ultimate here from Eclipse Mint, flashing his mastery and walking away with another kill under his belt. Flash here from Clone, trying to clean up the enemy jungler, but just doesn't reach.
Flash for flash trade coming in from the junglers, but what a great pick off from the side of Mount Gravatt, being able to get that shut down onto the mid lane, and Very Bad Bunny will have the completed Luden, so definitely a lot of burst potential coming in, but won't have that extra utility coming in from something like the Everfrost that we commonly see here. But if you're trying to carry, Ludens does make a lot of sense, and since you are the main damage threat at this moment, yeah, even more so. So we need to see a little bit more from Bad Bunny, but still, even in this bottom lane, it's really frustrating just getting tagged by one of those Lux E's. It's such a large chunk, and that's going to make things very difficult for this Jhin to play. If he eats one, it definitely immediately puts him into lethal.
Yeah, again, taking a look at how these teams match up against each other, Asian Doctor has been very, very dominant for the side of Mount Gravatt, having an incredible amount of kills, as well as the talent starting to develop a little bit of a reputation of his own. And again, significant kills we only have standing out here from Very Bad Bunny on the Ahri, and Best Yumi is starting to develop a bit of an arsenal as well. both sides having some threats that look very, very viable in how they play up against each other. With Asian Doctor here walking straight into Clone in the jungle. Clone gets the flea and is going to disengage on their own red buff immediately. And we're going to have another engagement here as well. Very Bad Bunny walking up too close on Asian Doctor. The charm does drop down, forcing Asian Bunny to use that... sorry, not Asian Bunny, Bad Bunny to dash away. And Boshi being completely caught out by that assassin damage from Eclipse Mints on that Talon. No chance.
Yeah, these soul lanes starting to get definitely very scary. And unfortunately, this Mordekaiser is just very, very far behind. Only 57 CS in the game. Even lagging behind his jungler, so that's not a good time.
Now, if we take a look at how the gold difference and how much everyone has right now, we're going to see that there's about 2,000 gold difference between both teams. And at this point in the game, not exactly it is a somewhat significant number, but does not count for that much of an impact. I mean, as we take a look at the players' gold counts, how much they're holding on to right now, we can see Darius has 7,000, which is pretty crazy. What do you make of these stats right now? What
do I make?
Here,
I'm making a kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, on top of Jin as well, with that Caitlyn ultimate going to drop down into Mayu for a nice little double kill on the side of Mount Gravatt as well. Unfortunately, Very Bad Bunny not walking into the fight in time to be able to save their cow.
Yeah, and I mean, that's another great result for Mount Gravatt. They have a 3-kill lead now that stretches the gold lead ever so slightly to 4K now. So now, you know, you move from a 2K, you know, it's nice to have a 2K lead at 17 minutes, but once you get to that 4K, that's when it feels like the lead is very impactful. You might start seeing
She's going to dash right on top of Clone with the electrocute. It just does so much damage, especially coming from a Poppy. It is crazy. Poppy is easily taking out Chui in every... Sorry. Chui on Poppy very easily cleans up Secret Clone every time as well, with Caitlyn here cleaning up that Very Bad Bunny, who has stood very strong for such a long time, hiding under the tower and putting up all their kills. And it looks like the momentum is starting to swing into the favor of Mount Gravatt.
Yeah, it's kind of playing to... Okay.
Oh, curtain call here coming out from Jin as well. We're going to have Asian Doctor as well jumping in to try and cancel it, forcing Best Yumi under tower once again with the Ocean Dragon being captured by Mount Gravatt and confirming that Infernal Soul. Finally, back to you, Nightstar.
Yeah, I mean, the game has sort of played out how we kind of outlined at the start, right? Because of how lane dominant the Darius and the Caitlyn Lux are, it's just forced so much map pressure that Forest Lake, even though they have a good teamfight composition, they aren't able to get it online because of how stretched they are with trying to protect their own jungle. And that means, of course, the Fiddlestick's been set behind. He's going to have harder time now that both outer towers on the side have been stripped away to be able to find angles or safe angles to ult over and be able to get those big 3-man, 4-man ultimates to actually find the big team fight impact. So now Mount Gravatt, yes, it says 5K gold, but it feels a lot more because how much they're able to invalidate the gold value onto a champion like Fiddlesticks, because there's just no angle for the Fiddlesticks to ult and use his kit. Again, that Darius is getting so strong, and you're exactly right. The gold difference is about 5,000, but it doesn't feel like that. I think it's Mount Gravatt, the people their kills are on as well have been spread out, and they feel so effective. And this, a Talon here trying to get a dive on the tower as well on top of CK Clone, but it looks like they walked up just too far, taking too many tower shots, and Best Yumi is going to get the pickup. That's not looking so good for Eclipse Mints, nor is it for Mount Gravatt, handing over a shutdown to... honestly, one of the people who would have been very bad to hand the shutdown over to, who is finally starting to look to scale, and they might just get the opportunity. Yeah, and the Jhin is the most critical part of this composition, right? Because we see all the other... Okay, another 1v1. Got friends now. Here, gonna force a flash right out of Boshi, but it looks like he finally has the teammates to back him up. This time that flash was well worth the use. Gonna drop the slam dunk right on top of Boshi, but it isn't going to be enough to be able to proc any more stacks on top of the rest of Boshi's teammates. Asian Doctor picking up one in exchange for his own life. I'm actually a little bit surprised they don't try and attempt that Baron, knowing that bot lane has two champions from the side of uh, blue. So now it looks like we're turning our attention towards possibly that dragon contest that is coming up in 2 minutes.
Whoa. Forcing a flash here out of catnip to avoid exactly what I was talking about from Alistar with that WQ is just crazy. It really is. Like, it's so simple, but being able to force yourself on top of the enemy, smash them up, they have no chance, and it's such a versatile kit. Alistar, who has been doing fairly okay so far this game, is finally getting a chance to really show their stuff. As well, apologies about the display right now. There is a bit of a mix-up with the teams, so we will try to get that fixed up as soon as possible.
A little bit, production side. But right now, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen an Umbral Glaive come out from either side, because you do have, of course, the Jhin who utilizes those stats very, very well. And on the flip side, you have this Talon who can really utilize the oppressive nature of the Umbral Glaive and denying vision and just making this a very, very dark rift to play for our red team. So now we're going to set up for this dragon. It's not super important at this time because it would be only second dragon for either of these squads, but the extra damage boost is surely welcomed from both of these sides.
An Infernal Dragon, if people manage to capture it, just having a soul on your hands it really is such a shift in gameplay, and you take a lead that no one can take back from you. I think that is the most significant thing about capturing a dragon or a soul as a whole, is, you can take a gold lead, you can take a turret, but I can take a turret back. I can take the gold back. I can't take the dragon soul back. It's something that is concreted, and and it is really significant when a lot of people think about it. We have Fiddlesticks here jumping right in with the ultimate, with the Hourglass on top, and Talon is going to get cleaned up despite dropping his ultimate as well. Lux getting picked up as well. Asian Doctor here right in the middle of the fray. He does get the bleed stacks again. Not going to be able to get the slime dunk off, and somehow still picking out his laner, while Best Yumi is going to pick up that kill on Asian Doctor. Boshi. Asian Doctor really, really has something out for Boshi here. Every single time in a team fight, just picking him up over and over again. And a bit of a massacre here on the side of Mount Gravatt, happening in just a moment from that beautiful flash over the wall from Sorry, not the flash, the ultimate over the wall from Fiddlesticks with the Hourglass. Really, really powerful, really, really effective.
Yeah, unfortunately, they weren't able to get great control over the bottom half of the map, being able to dominate with the vision, and that allowed the Fiddlesticks to get the one angle that he could have and actually get into the fight. Get the early pick onto the Lux, because the Lux was trying to fight for vision. Of course, that's where your support wards are. So if she gets picked off at the start of these fights, it makes it a lot more difficult to play front to back, because that's a lot of the peel for your Caitlyn as well. So Mount Gravatt, unfortunately, they take the L on that fight, and that will slow their game down a decent chunk. And that's some scary news, right? Because still, Forest Lake, better 5v5 team fight, I would still say.
Yeah, and an unsurprising little attack here from Asian Doctor on top of Boshi, man. He does not get a break. You're exactly right about Mount Gravatt slowing down. They really started to pick up momentum, and they were just flowing. But the team fight strength and effectiveness coming from Forest Lake is just unbelievable. They set up well, and they took the first big team fight very well, which has put them in a great position to be able to showcase their skills as a team and as people who can work together. Not just having a good draft, but having good communication and being able to say, yes, we're going to get that Lux right off the bat. Oh, that Talon is going to try to take out Ariel. We can't have that. Oh, our two carries. Let's get Talon out. Let's get Lux out. They're looking for the right people at the right time and taking the right advantages. And if they can pull something like this off again, despite the gold lead still being in the hands of Mount Gravatt, we're going to see a massive, massive twist in how the game is going so far.
Yeah, now for Mount Gravatt, the way that they really get back into, or really establish an enforcer lead. Just trying to play around Asian Doctor right here.
Oh! Oh!
As he dies.
Asian Doctor getting shut down straight into the hands of Boshi, finally getting his revenge that he was looking for in the Shadow Realm. Asian Doctor did get a bit too big for his boots and walked up too far on just too little health. Is going to get cleaned up, and Boshi looking like a happy man today.
Eclipse. He's got a lot of damage. He could turn, but there's a lot of Forest Lake.
Yeah, he does not want to turn. Oh no!
That's big.
Oh no! He is not going to be happy about that one. Very bad bunny, despite Eclipse Mints using his flash and his jump over the wall. He did walk up just a bit too far, and he's going to be pretty frustrated with himself for overextending that much. And he's going to get picked off as well, giving a very, very free Baron here, because Asian Doctor is missing and Eclipse Mints is missing. This is the swing that Forest Lake is looking for. They managed to get 2 more kills. They managed to get Baron under their belt. What is going on? This is exactly what they're looking for. And these next couple minutes of the game are going to be very unpredictable.
Yeah, now for Mount Gravatt, I mean, they just got a little bit too caught out in playing their isolated lanes, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of rotational gameplay coming in from their bottom lane. They've mostly just constantly shoved that bottom side, and their top lanes pretty much stayed top lane. So everyone's just been really tunneled on their particular lane, and just hoping that, hey, Forest Lake, if you come out and match us with your original lanes, we will continue to slam you. And Forest Lake, they haven't stuck to that game plan. They've been like, oh, okay, well, there's no towers necessarily for us to protect. You've already taken our 2 bot lane towers. If you're trying to get our inhib, you have to push so far out. And at this stage in the game, it's going to take a lot of time. So we have the luxury to rotate our bot lane to try and make plays, try and find these catch outs, and be able to rubber band ourselves back into this game, and that's exactly what's happened. So now, for the side of Mount Gravatt, they need to figure out how to get into this dragon, because this is a dragon that they want to contest, because this would be the 3rd dragon for Forest Lake, and now all of a sudden, the vision's dominated by the side of Forest Lake in this river area, which means you have so many more alt angles for this Fiddlesticks.
And there is all the vision gone from the Dragon Pit. It's not looking very good for Mount Gravatt as the Dragon begins to spawn here for Forest Lake. They are so well set up here. Clone is just so dangerous. If I'm on the side of Mount Gravatt, we're watching out. We need that Fiddle. We need that Fiddle. If he's going to ult and he's going to zombie us, and we have to be ready for that because it is going to hurt us so much. The Dragon does get aggroed. And both teams are just having a bit of a staring contest here, waddling back and forth, looking for someone to make an engage here. Either it's going to be Asian Doctor here, or it's going to be that Alistair. He's just sitting, he's waiting. That Dragon has been aggroed, and still no one taking the opportunity here. And it looks like Forest Lake is going to start the command on the Dragon, and that is going to force the opportunity to commit right on top of Mount Gravatt. So we're going to flash here from that Darius as well. He helps right in the middle of that Poppy ultimate, knocking everybody out here. And we have Eclipse Mints here, forcing Best Jimmy out of the fight. We are going to have Boshi here in that Shadow Realm here, looking on top of Darius, and he is going to get the Darius. The Dragon is slain from that Fiddlesticks, and Fiddlesticks also picks up a kill on top of the board. CK Clone here trying to finally use his Hourglass that he didn't use earlier because he was trying to get that smite down. And what a cleanup from Forest Lake. They managed to get the Dragon on their hands, and they only lost 2 members, while the side of Mount Gravatt has lost 3, including Asian Doctor, including Eclipse Mints, and Catnip. The 3 members they were looking to do damage and not lose. That was massive.
Yeah, and it was actually such a great opportunity for the side of Mount Gravatt, because Forest Lake, they were very tunneled on trying to finish that dragon, or at least CK Clone was. So he uses his ultimate, his Fiddlesticks ultimate, into the Dragon Pit. It doesn't hit a whole lot of people, but it's really just used to try and get that extra burst damage onto objective. So he's able to secure the objective, but to use that big ticket ultimate for just one person and a dragon, that should have been Mount Gravatt being able to turn that fight around. And even Churi being able to hit the Poppy ult onto the Alistar, knocking him out of the fight, removing away so much of the CC potential coming out from Forest Lake's composition. It just wasn't enough. And I mean, it really showcases the amount of team fight power included in this Forest Lake composition.
Yeah, and look at that gold count. Look at that dragon count. This is a huge shift. And I think you're exactly right. Fiddle missing his ultimate was... Well, not missing his ultimate. Placing his ultimate differently. Oh no! Poor Boshi here getting picked out by Chui. He's going to jump into the Shadow Run, but this time, he's not so scared. He has the rest of his team to come back him up, and Asian Doctor isn't going to be able to stand up this time. CK Clone jumping right on top of that Charm, landing on Asian Doctor, forcing Asian Doctor down. He is going to hold
can they
up with that
chase?
Ari. He is going to walk towards it. He's not going to get a chance to survive. And Chui getting chased down as well by 4 people. The Charm does not hit, but a cheeky little shutdown and a very big shutdown at that. Ouch. Straight in the hands of Very Bad Bunny, who now... Hey, look at that gold count. There it is. They finally managed to take their lead that they've been looking for. This is it. 3 dragons. They managed to take... It may be 400, but 500, but... It's still a lead. It still finally signifies a gold shift. And take a look at the gold count on these players. I mean, what do you think in Nightstar?
Yeah, I mean, that pick off onto Juri was massive, right? It was a 1,000 gold shutdown, and it's mostly highlighted by the fact that, hey, he was able to get such a large farm lead in the individual matchup. That's why he got put on such a large bounty, and you can see here, even now, still holds a 2,500 gold lead. Massive advantage for the Poppy, but the issue is the Poppy's run out of value, right? The only dashes you're trying to stop is the Ahri, is the Alistar, and feasibly, really Alistar. Just because the Ahri has just more range than you anyways, it's very hard to actually get onto that champion and utilize your steadfast presence. So this Poppy pick, a lot harder to execute at this moment in time, but the good news is the fact that, well, Jin is a relatively lower damage AD carry, and because he has a lot of magic resistance already stacked up, we'll still find some value in these team fights.
And again, it's now 17-90, which is a massive shift in tides, and we're 32 minutes into the game. 1 minute left on the Dragon, and it looks like Forest Lake has decided to start up the pressure by taking this Baron
Caitlyn's
right
in the
off the
bot
bat. Caitlyn's not with them, maybe trying to push up. But look at Darius down here in the mid lane as well. They are going to forcefully give up this Baron, but it looks like not all is lost. Darius is going to start pushing up this mid turret, start looking for the inhibitor. He is about to get very heavily backed on or run up upon by what is looking like 4 members coming from Forest Lake, while the last one comes to defend the tower. And now they have pushed down Forest Lake to basically all their inhibitor towers. The top tower on very low health. And the same is not for them. They still have 2 towers up in the top and the bottom lane. Now Gravatt trying to hold as strong as they can, but this Baron buff could see a big shift in tides here with the pressure and territory that both teams are vying to control.
Yeah, but the big thing here is you get the extra bonus fighting stats with this Dragon about to spawn in 10 seconds. So if they get themselves this Dragon Soul, that is more than enough to swing the advantage back into their favor. It doesn't matter how many turrets are down at that point. If you can just win every single fight, it's going to take a monumental effort from Mount Gravatt to steal this Dragon or to win this game now. Yes, okay,
Now
we got
Gravatt
some vision.
not looking for the Dragon, though. Red team slaying the Dragon, and it's just Boshi here looking to come back. They have no minions up, and they're still going to look for the tower. These turret shots dropping on top of everybody, and Eclipse Mints is the one in the Shadow Realm. They're trying to get on top of this inhibitor turret, and it looks like it was all for naught. The curtain call that comes down on top of Jinx. Asian Doctor is going to get that kill on top of Boshi, but Asian Doctor has walked into his doom, getting the kill on top of Boshi as well. She going to get picked up by Alistar, trying to get the sun on top of Ahri. Very Bad Bunny still getting a chase, and the double kill goes straight into the hands of that Ahri. And now they have Infernal Soul, they have a gold lead, and they have 3 dead members on the opposing team. This is going to be a big siege in front of us.
Yeah, and the last thing you didn't mention, they also have a Baron buff. So now you have that extra Baron.
Oh yeah, a Baron buff, yeah.
Yeah, and they could potentially just end the game right here with those extra Baron minions. There's still 15 seconds on to holy.
Oh, wait, huh? Hey, did you blink for a second there as well, bro? And she just disappeared? Looking on top of that first Nexus turret, they're going to look for that second one as well as the respawn timers start ticking down. Asian Doctor's back on the field and Chui about to get respawn as well. And whether or not they can clean these guys up in the moment is going to guarantee whether or not they can win the game. And they decide not to take the fight. They're going to back up further, potentially set up a bush of death for someone to walk into. And it looks like they're going to switch their focus instead for another inhibitor. They're going to start taking down the bottom turret. They're trying to draw out some of their opponents, get a cheeky little pick. They still have all their members alive, and they are just waiting for another opportunity to get one more pick on potentially Asian Doctor, Eclipse Mints, Catnips. If they get one of them, then the tides shift so much. And there is the root right on top of Chui, and the advantage is taken. That Charm getting right on top of him, and Mordekaiser, sorry, Ari is going to get the pick here. That's it. I think that's game. They get the inhibitor once again. Asian Doctor here. Final bastion they must pass. They look for the Nexus turret. Asian Doctor is going to splash right in the middle of the fray. He tries to drop the Q, but at this point his laner is soloing him. Boshi is going to attempt to try and pick up that kill on Asian Doctor, but Asian Doctor manages to stay alive. And now he's going to get a slam dunk on top of all three members of the opposing team, but it just isn't enough. Now we have Zamayu here sitting on that Nexus with CK Clone, and they are both going to stay alive for their team, and they are both going to finish up that game. What a win. What a win. That was incredible. Wow. What a ton of events. Forest Lake should be very proud of themselves for how they played that game and how they managed to turn the tides. Oh my God.
Yeah, Forest Lake clutched that one up. They were put very far behind at the start of the game, as we kind of outlined, right? Their lanes, not great. The ability for Talon to just hard slam and accelerate these side lanes, that's exactly how the game plan kind of started out for the side of Mount Gravatt. But Forest Lake didn't get too panicked, right? They held steady. They found that first dragon fight that got things rolling with the great Fiddlesticks ultimate, and from there on it was just saying, hey, we have the better 5v5. And as well, Mount Gravatt, when it came to playing the map, they were just one or two steps behind, right? We saw the first Baron. The Caitlyn was in the bot lane trying to shove up. Like, you can't do those things as the AD carry because you are such a large source of the damage.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I mean, it seemed like at the start, Mount Gravatt had such a big advantage. They were pushing such a lead. And there was a moment where it all felt like it came untangled in that first dragon fight. The second dragon was I think Forest Lake successfully captured the first dragon nice and easily, but that Infernal dragon. Are we doing all right?
Yep. Wait, is this
for the interview? Hey, mate. You doing all right? You there? Yeah. Apologies, everyone. I think we had a bit of a jump forward to our interview before we had a chance to get things running. We will have the interview rolling in just a moment. Nightstar's camera has been hijacked, and I'm just going to say it was a fantastic game. Both teams have been very, very strong. We have our interviewee here sitting and waiting, and if they're in already, while VMix is down, I see why don't we just look to jump back in here? Oh, hold on.
I don't know what happened.
Hey, no, why we missed you, man. What happened? Mordekaiser accidentally altered you or something?
I got kidnapped by Mordekaiser. I got banned to the Shadow Realm. You know, sometimes it happens that way.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough one, but as you were just coming back, I was saying we could really see where the game shifted near the... Oh my, it looks like we've been hijacked again. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, mate, you there?
Wait, sorry. Okay, I'm leaving my Discord call. Hello?
All good, bro, all good.
Yeah, wait, so what was your...
Well, so... Let's just stay on the interview and introduce yourself to everybody. Who are we talking to? You there? We might be having a bit of a problem with the interview still. He did say he was leaving his Discord call. Just give us a moment, everybody. There is a bit of an issue with how everything is going. I think we had a bit of a mix-up with the join codes and the timing. So give us a moment. We will try to have a rejoin here. There is, but yeah, I guess while we wait for things to try and clear up, I'll drop my opinion on the game. So yeah, there was a big ton of events there in that first Infernal Dragon that everyone was trying to take, and I think that we saw a potential team fight that could have been won from both sides when Gravatt, unfortunately, they couldn't stand their ground in they couldn't stand their ground in that dragon fight, and they sort of lost some momentum that they were running forward with, and instead of going, they were speeding up, and instead of slowing down but trying to maintain the momentum, they really hit a brick wall as they were trying to move forward. They were having a very hard time trying to regain that momentum, trying to keep moving forward, and unfortunately, that led to them, once they hit that wall, they kept losing and losing in some of these really important fights, forced to give up a bunch of objectives. They lost their second dragon, and then here we go, Nightstar back. Hopefully, if we can fix up some of the issues we were having. There we go. Welcome back, Nightstar. You doing all right? Can't hear you. There we go. And again, I think despite all our confusion or some of the tech, there it is. Okay. My apologies about all the delays and all the issues we've been having, everyone. I'm not sure what's going on, so I think we will jump straight to our MVP. Oh, I think we jump straight towards our MVP despite some of the technical issues we're having. So we're going to give it to Very Bad Bunny. Fantastic. Send out to that Ari. Was just a fantastic gameplay from me. Very Bad Bunny was fantastic that game. We had a lot of standouts coming from a lot of different members. I think the Asian Doctor on the top lane from the opposing team probably would have taken the MVP if they could have closed up the game. But presented once again by MSI and Torrens University, Very Bad Bunny is our MVP of the day. And it wasn't just the kills, it wasn't just the assists, but the overall pressure that Very Bad Bunny was able to provide to the team when they were trying to take objectives. Objectives were the name of the game today. It wasn't sieging, it wasn't split pushing. Objectives was the name of today's game, and Very Bad Bunny was so strong in being able to control these objectives, being able to exert their pressure, and it was just fantastic. I mean, Nightstar, what did you think? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, a bit of an audio issue here. I think when we had our interviewee try to come in early and set things up, it did mix up some of Nightstar's audio. So I think we're just going to well, I'm just getting some messages from the production here. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like, despite some of the technical issues we were having here, we'd like to thank our MVPs and everything that's going on. Once again, to our sponsors, MSI and Torrens University, for making all this happen. We're going to leave it at that for today's game. Once again, big congratulations to Gravatt and Forest Lake for the game, and Forest Lake for taking the victory. Thanks for putting on such a fantastic show. I had a really good time, and we'll leave for a break here. Everyone, this is your time to go grab your snacks, to go grab your tea, get ready for the next game as we roll into it. So we'll see you all then. See you guys in a bit.